What psychological life hacks do you use to gain an advantage? When a group of people laughs, each person instinctively looks at the one they feel the most affection for. So if you want to know who someone is attracted to, pay attention to who they glance at when laughing in a crowd. If you ask someone a question but they only answered partially, just wait. If you stay silent and keep looking at them, they'll likely continue talking. My boss does this all the time. Once, I was apologizing for being late, and it was brutal. Sorry I'm late, there was an accident on the road. Silence. A terrible traffic jam. Silence. And I overslept. Silence. I'll stay late today to make up for it. Boss, see how I made you crack? If you're genuinely happy and excited to see others, they'll respond the same way when they meet you. It might not happen the first time, but it definitely will by the second. I learned this psychological trick on a forum a few years ago. This technique will be useful for anyone working in customer service, though it can help in other situations too, but in service industries, it's practically essential. Hang a mirror behind you so that is directly in front of the customer. This way, if an angry customer comes in to vent, they'll see themselves in the mirror, and as a result, the likelihood of aggression from them will drop significantly, because no one likes seeing themselves in that state. This is one of the reasons why many bars have large mirrors behind the counter. The main purpose is for bartenders to see who's seated and if new customers have arrived, but there are other reasons too. If you're working behind the bar and a customer starts complaining or acting aggressively, just take a deep breath and step slightly to the side and lean on the counter with one arm. If you tilt your head slightly and briefly break eye contact, the customer will be forced to look at their own reflection. Chew gum in situations where you feel nervous about something you're about to do, whether it's public speaking or bungee jumping. I don't remember where I heard this, but I know for sure that when we eat, our brain shuts off one of its functions because logically, I wouldn't be eating if I were in danger, so I must be safe. Pay attention to people's feet. If you approach two people talking and they only turn their torsos toward you while keeping their feet in place, it means they don't actually want you joining their conversation. Similarly, if you're talking to a coworker who seems to be listening, their torso facing you, but their toes aren't pointed at you, they likely want to end the interaction soon. You should check out Carol Kinsey Goman's book on decoding workplace body language. When you meet someone new, try to notice their eye color while smiling at them. This naturally makes you hold eye contact 1 to 2 seconds longer, and the person will likely respond with warmer engagement. The physical symptoms of stress, rapid breathing, increased heart rate, etc. are identical to those of courage. So when you feel stressed about something, immediately reframe it. Convince yourself your body is preparing to do something brave and there's no stress at all. I advise everyone to set their emotional state before interviews. Tell yourself, I've known these people my whole life. They're old friends I haven't seen in ages. I can't wait to catch up with them. Visualize the meeting, the handshake, eye contact, your conversation. What are you excited to tell them? Adopt an open posture. Stand with feet apart, hands on hips, shoulders back, and most importantly, wear a smile. This idea isn't new, but you alone are responsible for your emotional state, and the power of self-suggestion is immense. When someone goes through a breakup, they're in their most vulnerable state and can be easily manipulated due to the flood of emotions. This can be exploited with either good or bad intentions. Creating false excitement in someone. When inviting a person on a first date, choose an unusual location that will make their heart race, like a roller coaster or a horror movie. This spikes adrenaline levels, causing them to attribute their excitement to enjoying your company rather than the actual source of their increased heartbeats. In sales, though I suspect this works in other areas too. Once you've said everything you need to say, stop talking. My boss at my last job taught me this, often giving little tips. I was working at a gym selling memberships at the time. He told me that after explaining the product and pricing, the first person to speak loses. It seems like a simple trick, but it works wonders. There'd often be these painfully long, awkward pauses while the customer scrambled for reasons not to buy, but usually they'd cave. I'm obsessed with this tactic. When I worked in retail, I often couldn't hold back and would snap at customers. Then I realized I was too easily provoked and I decided to stay overly polite, even when they were outright hostile. Some of them would get even more furious because of this behavior, and I used it to my advantage. If you're attending a meeting and suspect someone plans to speak against you, simply sit next to them. People often rely on the crowd for protection, but when you're right beside them, it becomes uncomfortably personal. This may make them either abandon their original intentions or at least express themselves more diplomatically. I remember last time this topic came up, someone wrote that if you ask a person for a small favor, they'll start believing that helping you means they like you. Classic cognitive dissonance. Only you can control your emotions and thoughts. Try reframing your initial reactions. Tell yourself you're excited about something rather than nervous. Eventually, your brain will believe it. This works with negative emotions too, which is why self-diagnosis is dangerous. If you convince yourself you're depressed or anxious, you'll amplify those feelings until they become reality. This hack won't show immediate results, but after a few months, you'll notice positive changes in your mindset. Stand up straight, stop slouching, take your hands out of your pockets, and lift your chin high. It might sound cliche, but you'll actually feel better and more confident. While not always applicable, try to dress sharper for important events, including job interviews. If you look good, you'll feel good. And if you feel good, you're far more likely to succeed. During negotiations, always start with extremes. Begin by stating the maximum outcome you're aiming for. This way, both you and the other party can engage in discussions while keeping leverage. Avoid saying, "I think" or "I believe" unless absolutely necessary. These phrases undermine trust and won't do you any favors. Make a habit of using people's names often when you're with them. People love hearing their names. It builds trust and makes friendship effortless. For example, your friend introduces you to someone named Peter. When Peter leaves 5 minutes later, don't just say goodbye. Say, "Goodbye, Peter." Train yourself to never use filler words like well, like, sort of, etc. Instead, it's better to take brief pauses to gather your thoughts before speaking, but don't think too long. When you use filler words, your conversation partner realizes you're thinking about what to say. If you eliminate them, these moments of deliberation become less noticeable, making you appear more confident as a result. This has been mentioned before, but let me remind you, if you want to stare at someone without making it obvious, quickly glance over the person and then wait for them to try to catch your eye. When they fail to do so, their eyes will dart around the room. This usually lasts about a second, and for a while, they won't even look in your direction.